Is Formula One losing its edge? The recent controversy surrounding Lewis Hamilton has ignited a fierce debate about the state of the sport. With a string of dominant victories under his belt, Hamilton's comments about F1 being boring seem ironic. However, as time goes on, his words gain credibility, prompting even Toto Wolff, the formidable Mercedes team principal, to reconsider his stance on certain regulations. Join us as we delve into the heart of the matter and explore whether Hamilton was right all along and if F1 needs a shake-up to reclaim its excitement and allure before 2026. Lewis Hamilton acknowledges the disappointment expressed by certain fans regarding the current state of competition in Formula One, prompting him to suggest that the series may need to reconsider its rules earlier than anticipated. In its second season since implementing revised technical regulations aimed at enhancing racing quality and narrowing the performance gap between teams, Formula One finds itself dominated by Red Bull, with the team clinching victory in every race this year and 14 out of the past 15 Grands Prix. Concerns arise about the potential impact on the American market, which Formula One is eager to engage with during its upcoming 3 rounds in the United States. When asked if he was apprehensive that Red Bull's dominance would deter American fans, Hamilton responded, "My role is not to persuade people to watch a sport. Personally, I find it engaging as I face the daily challenge of reclaiming the leading position. Therefore, from my perspective, it is definitely not dull." However, Hamilton empathizes with racing enthusiasts who may perceive a lack of competition compared to other sports, such as the NFL and NBA. He clarifies that this situation is not a result of his own actions, but acknowledges the need for Formula One to improve as a sport. While attempts have been made to bridge the gap between teams, the desired outcomes have proven elusive. Hamilton assures that he and his team are exerting maximum effort to level the playing field and deliver more excitement to the fans. Hamilton expresses his support for Formula One's recent car design overhaul, considering it a positive step forward in the sport's evolution. However, he emphasizes a need for further changes before the scheduled rulebook overhaul in 2026. Acknowledging the progress in technology, Hamilton finds it unfortunate that significant performance gaps still exist between teams. While he doesn't have a definite solution for the future, he believes it is crucial to continue adapting the regulations to avoid a prolonged period of the current state until 2026. Hamilton emphasizes that concerted efforts are underway to improve the situation. Regarding the current generation of cars, Hamilton expresses his satisfaction after Mercedes successfully addressed the porpoising issue experienced throughout the previous season. He appreciates the absence of bouncing in the cars and mentions that while the added weight may not be ideal, it does not significantly detract from his enjoyment. But now, Mercedes achieved a remarkable outcome at the Spanish Grand Prix, securing their first double podium finish of the year. Lewis Hamilton took second place, while George Russell claimed an impressive third position, in a race once again dominated by Max Verstappen. Expressing his delight, Hamilton praised the team's unexpected achievement, commending their relentless dedication and acknowledging the efforts of the staff back at the factory, who continually strive to narrow the performance gap with Red Bull. Hamilton showcased exceptional driving skills during the Grand Prix, executing a successful overtaking maneuver on Carlos Sainz from Ferrari to secure second place. Throughout the race, he maintained a strong and unyielding position. Meanwhile, Russell showcased his talent by skillfully maneuvering through the field, advancing 9 places to secure a commendable third position. Despite facing a late challenge from Sergio Perez in the dominant Red Bull car, Russell defended his position admirably. Russell expressed optimism for the future, seeing the double podium finish as a positive sign of things to come. He highlighted the team's consistent improvement, noting their increasing speed compared to the rivals such as Aston Martin and Ferrari. Russell expressed his satisfaction with achieving a podium finish, showcasing his growing confidence and performance. Since Lewis Hamilton's controversial loss in the Abu Dhabi race 18 months ago, both he and Mercedes have faced challenges in reaching their usual performance standards. Red Bull has emerged as a dominant force in Formula One since then, while Hamilton finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship last year, with George Russell finishing 4th. In the current season, Hamilton currently holds the 4th position, with Russell following closely behind. Mercedes unveiled their upgraded car in the recent race, aiming to surpass rivals such as Aston Martin and Ferrari, even though Red Bull remains significantly ahead of the competition. Toto Wolff acknowledged the risks associated with the decision to take a different direction with several car components. However, the team's collective effort paid off, resulting in a competitive race car. The initial struggles of the season served as a wake-up call for Mercedes, prompting a deeper understanding of the required improvements. Despite the advancements made with the upgraded car, it still fell short in comparison to the pace set by Red Bull. Max Verstappen continued his dominance by securing his third consecutive victory and fifth win out of the 7 races this season. Hamilton, acknowledging Red Bull's current superiority, expressed the team's ongoing commitment to closing the gap. He tempered expectations, emphasizing the importance of taking one step at a time. While aiming to challenge Red Bull by the end of the year would be remarkable, Hamilton acknowledged that it might take until the following year to achieve the desired competitiveness. These recent developments suggest that Formula One could once again become a highly competitive arena. Hamilton's advocacy for new rules may continue as he and Mercedes strive to regain their competitive edge. It's, in a way, rich and ironic that he is the one advocating for such laws, considering he was the one who dominated the F1 for many years, and he didn't have that problem then. But Hamilton seems to consider the Red Bull car far more dominant than Mercedes ever were. Hamilton made a bold claim after the race in Jeddah, stating that Red Bull's advantage is greater than anything he experienced during Mercedes' dominant period. He expressed his astonishment at the speed of the RB19, describing it as the fastest car he's ever seen compared to the rest of the field. He admitted that he was unable to defend against Max Verstappen's overtaking move due to a significant difference in speed. Comparing speed figures, Verstappen recorded an impressive 342.7 km per hour in the main speed trap, surpassing other competitors by a considerable margin, including Hamilton. However, it's worth noting that these figures were achieved with the assistance of the drag reduction system, DRS. Hamilton's observation about Verstappen breezing past him is influenced by the Red Bull's superior straight-line performance, particularly when utilizing the DRS. It's important to consider that Hamilton did not have access to the DRS at that moment. Being left behind when being overtaken by a rival is not a new experience, as the overtaking aid can create significant speed differentials. To evaluate the overall performance of the cars, it is more relevant to compare their overall capabilities. The Red Bull RB19 has demonstrated dominance in terms of pole positions, victories, and points scored. It has achieved back-to-back 1-2 finishes and secured 87 out of 88 possible points. In the past, teams such as McLaren, Williams, and Ferrari have also achieved 100% of potential points in the first 2 races. Assessing the race pace advantage of the Red Bull is challenging. The closest challenger in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, Fernando Alonso, trailed by 38.637 seconds and 20.728 seconds respectively. This combined margin of 59.365 seconds ranks as the 8th largest in instances where the same team has won the first 2 races of a championship season in the past 50 years. Hamilton's strongest start by this metric is ranked 11th, with the combined advantage of Mercedes in 2014 amounting to 51.331 seconds. There is no denying that Red Bull could have extended their lead even further. Lewis Hamilton has suggested that Red Bull's pace advantage amounts to 1.5 seconds per lap. Although that may be an exaggeration, it does highlight their significant advantage. Red Bull has showcased the ability to win races comfortably, managing their pace while addressing usual concerns regarding fuel, cooling, and tyre management. In terms of qualifying pace, Red Bull's advantage over their closest competitors is decisive, although not massive. In Bahrain, Verstappen was 0.292 seconds quicker than Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, who could have closed the gap further if not for strategic tyre-saving decisions. Similarly, in Jeddah, Perez held a 0.155 second advantage over the same driver. If not for Verstappen's driveshaft failure in Q2, the margin would have likely been even larger. This equates to a pace advantage of 0.251% over Ferrari. Throughout Hamilton's years at Mercedes, the average pace advantage was nearly 4 times greater than that, with a peak in 2014 when Mercedes was on average 0.881% quicker than the second fastest car. This was similarly substantial in 2015, 0.703%, and 2016, 0.842%. In 2021, Mercedes held a 0.330% edge over Red Bull. Mercedes has also achieved back-to-back 1-2 finishes at the start of the 2019 season, demonstrating their dominance. To put things into perspective, in Australia 2015, Hamilton was 1.391 seconds faster than the best non-Mercedes car, Felipe Massa's Williams, and finished the race over half a minute ahead of the competition. However, these gaps pale in comparison to historical precedents. For instance, the legendary Williams FW14B of 1992 was on average 1.5% quicker than the next best car and set the fastest lap at all 16 Grand Prix weekends that season. Similar advantages were seen in the early years of the championship with Alfa Romeo 1950 and Ferrari 1952 and 1956. The current edge enjoyed by Red Bull does not compare to McLaren's dominance in 1988, 1.511%, and 1989, 1.445%, or Williams Honda's in 1987, 1.331%. It is somewhat surprising that Hamilton seems to overlook the situation he experienced with Mercedes from 2014 to 2016. During that period, Mercedes won 51 out of 59 races, accounting for 86.5% of the races, a win rate comparable to Red Bull's 19 out of 23 races, 82.6% since the start of last year. Being in a dominant car is undoubtedly satisfying for a driver, but it can be frustrating when someone else possesses superior machinery. Hamilton's perspective is reflective of a racing driver's mindset. While it may appear straightforward from the outside, achieving and maintaining dominance requires immense hard work. Hamilton remembers the dedication and effort put into those years rather than solely focusing on the final results. Additionally, he faced fierce competition for the title from his teammate, Nico Rosberg, who posed a more significant threat than Perez does to Verstappen. Ultimately, Hamilton's viewpoint exemplifies the mindset of a great racing driver. Even when witnessing a rival's dominance, they tend to forget the tremendous effort required to reach such a supreme position. After all, racing drivers are intensely competitive and determined individuals, for whom winning is an integral part of their lives. Let us know if you agree with Hamilton's viewpoint in the comments below.